Stunt doubles have enabled action movies to become more than just movies. Creating a good action movie doesn't rely on plot alone. It's called an action movie for a reason, to give you action. It's meant to excite the inner fighter in us. However, action is dangerous, especially for the actors. That's where the doubles come in. They are trained professionals with various backgrounds that enable them to have the grit and the body to take a beating. They voluntarily take on harsh scenes to help the movie come to life. They protect the main actors by taking the brunt of the rough scenes. But if the ones in trouble are the doubles themselves, who is there to save them? Statistically speaking, accidents and even death were already bound to happen. Time and time again, doubles have paved the way for greatness in movies. Here is a list of 14 stunt doubles who passed away due to their demanding job. Number 1, XXX, Harry O'Connor. Harry O'Connor died as Vin Diesel's stunt double. O'Connor was known for being a stunt double in a number of films, like Soldier, Charlie's Angels, The Perfect Storm, and his last movie, XXX. But he was more than just a stunt double. Born on August 28, 1957, he was a skydiver who started working as a stunt double after retiring as a Navy SEAL. His last stunt was with a scene for XXX that involved a paragliding stunt, when his head allegedly hit one of Pulaski Bridge's pillars and broke his neck in the process. This was his second attempt at the scene. The first stunt ended up being used in the movie, which makes his death feel even more painful. In the commentary track of the director, Rob Cohen, he mentioned that there were 500 stuntmen who were involved in the film. Out of all the 500 people, only O'Connor died. The other 499 were left unscathed. Cohen goes on to praise Harry's dedication to the stunt by mentioning just how far he was willing to go to make the film more intense for the viewer. This man was not just an extra, but someone that strived to make the film as good as it could be. He further points out that stuntmen aren't always in danger. Most of the time, they are safe. Unfortunately, O'Connor was an exception to this. Harry was 44 years old. Number 2. Top Gun, Art Scholl. Arthur Everett. Art Scholl was a stunt pilot known for his work as an aerobatic pilot, aero cameraman, and flight instructor. Born in 1935, Art Scholl became well known in his field, especially in his stunt roles in films, like The Right Stuff, Blue Thunder, The A-Team, and more films. He also has a series of certifications related to being a pilot, further exemplifying his skills. His last stunt would be on Top Gun. Scholl was chosen to perform the inverted air stunt that would be a crucial part of the film. According to the reports released by the Los Angeles Times, Art was experienced on the maneuver. However, while performing the maneuver, Scholl reported over the radio that he was experiencing difficulties. This is what most believe to be the reason for Art's death, causing him to plunge into the Pacific. When interviewed by the Daily Mail, his wife, Judy Scholl, mentioned that one thing she didn't like about her husband's death was that he didn't tell her anything more about his difficulties. At the time of the flight accident, Art was 53. Number 3, Shark, Jose Marco. Jose Marco was known for his final role in Shark, where he helped out as a stuntman for Burt Reynolds. His death is one of the most well-known ones in Hollywood. While filming for his underwater scene, a shark got through one of the nets and headed straight to the stuntmen. Marco was brutally attacked by the shark that killed him in the process. The crew and the other people around him tried to make the shark leave him, but to no avail, they were unsuccessful. Sharks have always been a part of the Hollywood film industry. Everything the directors and the actors do is to make the stunt and the film more engaging. The producers wanted to include the scenes of his death, in which they actually did. The crew also released the film to the public with a little bit of marketing, in hopes that the incident will push the film to perform better. Jose died at the age of 32. Number 4. The Expendables 2, Kun Liu. Liu, along with a fellow stuntman, Nuo Sun, was heavily injured when a scheduled explosion didn't go as planned. The two of them were riding on a raft when Liu was doubling for Stallone, while Sun was doubling for Jet Li. Sun survived his serious injuries caused by the explosion and sued Stallone and Millennium Films. However, Kun was unable to survive. Kun suffered multiple heavy injuries which resulted in his untimely death. The family of Liu didn't let any of this pass easily. They sued against the people and the parties involved. One of the people involved in the movie was Chad Stahelski, who is famous for directing the John Wick franchise. The vision for the Expendables franchise was to put together the stars in the genre and make the best film out of it. The better the action, the greater the danger. Unfortunately, the latter resulted in the death of Kun Liu, who was 26 at the time. Number 5, exit wounds. Chris Lamon. Chris Lamon was a Canadian stuntman who died of a bizarre accident during the filming for Exit Wounds. Lamon's scene involved him and another stuntman jumping onto vehicles. Instead of landing feet first, Lamon dove and landed head first. Chris's death wasn't immediate. He was first hospitalized before dying days later. The stuntman suffered multiple skull fractures and swelling in the brain, which caused his untimely death. A representative of Warner Brothers gave out a statement explaining the matter on ABC News, mentioning that it was a very unfortunate scenario that doesn't happen very often. The representative expressed their sadness regarding the matter. In honor of his death, his fiancée wanted to halt its release date, but her efforts were in vain. The film was released in March 2001, which received bad views. Chris Lamon died at the young age of 35. Number 6, For Your Eyes Only. The James Bond franchise is known for its extreme stunts, and the stunts seem to get more and more dangerous by each film release. For the film For Your Eyes Only, it seems that the stunt went too far when 23-year-old Paolo Rigoni lost his life while performing the action scene. Paolo Rigoni was asked to do a stunt for a ski and bobsled chase scene in the snowy slopes of Italy. The four-man stunt required rigorous riding, which caused the sleigh to overturn and dragged Rigoni underneath. The experts determined that the cause of his death was actually the track being poorly designed, which would explain the recent death of a famous professional bobsledder at the time, James Morgan, which happened just 1 week before this accident. Thankfully, his death was not in vain. The unfortunate death of Rigoni and Morgan caused the bobsledding track organizers to shorten the track to make it safer for other bobsledders. This stunt was considered the deadliest in all of the James Bond franchise. Number 7, Red Cliff. Liu Yangqing. Red Cliff was an amazing film that earned the title of being a highest-grossing film. Unfortunately, a stuntman had to die in the process to reach that status. Liu Yangqing died in the making of the film, and 6 other members were injured in the process. One of the scenes in the film needed to have a blaze. Unfortunately, that blaze turned into a wildfire that spread across the set, which took the life of Yangqing and injured the others. The set was set up in a way where a small, flaming vessel was to collide with a larger vessel. But because there was an unexpected high wind, the fire spread to the second ship, which killed Liu and hurt the others. The Cliff team expressed their sorrow for the death of Yangqing. He was 23. Number 8, Delta Force 2. Not just one person died on the set of Delta Force 2. However, this as not due to a scene, but rather on the transport route to and from the set. The fatal accident happened in the Philippines, where a helicopter crashed into a ravine a few moments after it took off. This accident took the lives of Don Marshall, Mike Graham, and Gotti Danzig, who were part of the staff. The pilot of the helicopter, Jojo Imariale, and the stuntman, Jeff Brewer, died later on in the hospital. The production company involved in the project, Cannon Films, was notorious for being under budget. Apart from this film, they were also involved in the deaths of no less than 10 people over the course of 4 years. Number 9, Proof of Life, Will Gaffney. Most actor, stuntman, staff deaths on film sets are involved in filming action scenes. When actors aren't that needed, and the scene is relatively safe, stand-ins or doubles are used. Doubling is usually not as dangerous as the stunts, but the filming of a double in the Proof of Life was clearly an outlier. The death in Proof of Life happened in a more dull part of the movie. The shot involved a truck that was moving at a slow speed down a mountain road, but the vehicle took an unplanned left turn, which caused it to roll over to the side of a cliff. Later on in an interview, the director expressed his remorse. He explained that the production was deeply painful and that they were doing everything in their power to help out his friends and family. The director further explained that the accident was considered a freak accident because everything was perfect, and it was hard to see a reason why such an accident could have taken place. Number 10, Troy, George Camilleri. The film Troy took a traditional approach in filming its large sequences by using a lot of extras. Because there were hundreds of extras involved in the huge scene, injuries to both main characters and extras were inevitable. Injuries sustained by Brad Pitt and the extras were kept in the movie. This production left many injured and one of the extras dead. George Camilleri was a stuntman that was admitted to the hospital with serious trauma to his ankle. Along with his ankle injury were chest pains and breathing problems. He was operated on, but died just a few days later. At first, it didn't seem like it was connected to the film, but after an autopsy, it was revealed that it was more connected than initially thought. The autopsy revealed that Camilleri suffered from pulmonary thromboembolism, which can be a problem after a lower leg injury and surgery. According to further investigations, Camilleri had to make jumps he wasn't prepared for. Due to mixed signals between extras, he made an error and jumped on the wrong spot on the side of a galleon, which ultimately took his life. Number 11, Red Heat, Benny Dobbins. It is well known to film lovers that films involving Arnold Schwarzenegger tend to be more on the explosive side. But in his film, Red Heat, the cause of death was not the film itself. Benny Dobbins served as a stunt coordinator for the production. He was helping two stuntmen on the stage when he suddenly collapsed. Benny suffered a fatal heart attack and was airlifted to a local hospital. However, Dobbins didn't make it. The film was released in memory of the 55-year-old. Number 12, The Walking Dead, John Bernecker. The death of John Bernecker, a stuntman of the Walking Dead series, rocked the Hollywood scene. Bernecker was filming a stunt with actor Austin Emilio. The fight sequence was supposed to end with Bernecker falling off of a balcony and landing on a padding. Unfortunately, the stunt did not go as planned. Instead of falling onto the mat, John tried to grab the railing, which offset his fall by a few inches, which sent him directly to the concrete. Bernecker was still breathing when he was sent to the Atlanta hospital, but he soon became brain dead within hours and was taken off of his life support. Emilio later on gave his statements on Twitter, expressing his grief. Bernecker died at the age of 33. Number 13, American Made, Alan Perwin and Carlos Burrell. American Made is a film starring Tom Cruise, who is famous for stunting his own films. But the death that occurred in American Made was not from a double or Tom himself, but from two stunt pilots. Reports mentioned that the two were already done with their shot and were wrapping up. However, the weather conditions were not in their favor. Fog built up, which led to their death by plane crash into the Andes Mountains. Stunt pilots Alan and Carlos both died, but a third pilot on the plane survived the crash. The studio noted that Alan was an amazing airman and was responsible for aerial shots in well-known movies like Transformers and the Pirates of the Caribbean. Number 14, Gone Fishin', Janet Wilder. This Disney film mainly used water stunts, which lead to the death of Janet Wilder. One of the action scenes led to a boat crash, which took the life of this stunt woman. Wilder was with a few others in the boat, which included her husband, Scott Wilder, who all survived with some injuries. The crash that killed the stunt woman was the second take of a stunt scene because the first take was deemed unacceptable. The director, Christopher Gain, asked for another take on the scene because he was not satisfied with the first shot. He asked to reshoot the take because the boats were not fast enough. Unfortunately, increasing the speed of the boat also made it deadlier. The boat hurtled off of a ramp and collided with two stunt boats full of extras. It was one of the worst accidents in Hollywood history. The dangerous world of the stuntman scene. Thanks to stuntmen and stuntwomen, we have very amazing films that get us hanging off the edge of our seats. It takes great dedication and bravery to perform these stunts. It also involves a lot of risk that leads some stunt actors into their demise. These stunt actors are not just any actors. They undertake rigorous training and other backgrounds just to become physically and mentally strong enough to perform stunts that are too dangerous for normal people. Sometimes these stunts lead to their deaths. Some of these deaths are not even caused by stunts, but by a series of unfortunate events. These stunt actors enable movies to become more than just movies, but realistic and heart-pounding adventures for the viewer. Do not take their work for granted, because they do the work that nobody else can. These people train and die for their craft. Let us not have them be buried into the unknown, but glorified into what they are, actors, actresses, and professionals. If you enjoyed watching this video, consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing so we can bring you more videos like this one.